Man. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Spin from the Reel. Once again, I am your host, Matt, and joining me as always is the personality of this entire network, Chris Anthony Lopez.
What's going on, Matt?
Not much, bud. Not much. Just,
Word.
Living that school COVID life and work, and yeah, it's life.
Yeah, adulting is the worst. Like, I was talking about it with a friend of mine yesterday. Like, I'm 23. Like, this is really I had to pay rent yesterday. That's when it hit me over the head. I'm like, damn.
Like, this is real. This is real.
This is the worst. I didn't sign up for this. Oh god, we got. I know I probably say this every week, but a big week, like probably the biggest week the Schmoedown has had in the singles tournament so
far. It seems like we've been saying that each.
But I mean it. Like I mean it this time. Like so much has happened in the last 7 days. We're not going to talk about the match that just happened, the Barbarian versus Whitney Seibold, because spoilies. So we'll talk about that on the show next week. But we will start with the match that happened last Wednesday. But first, we might have a guest. Two guests?
Yeah, we might have a guest or two. So joining us today are a couple other members of the Who Are They Real Entertainment Network, and that of course is Nick, the Underdog Lopez, and Taylor.
Nick, the Underdog what?
You are my husband now.
Congratulations! Could have picked a better man.
I mean, you have made him. You have made him your bitch, Chris. Just saying.
No, don't say that. You say that because he's a dog. I get it. I see what you did there.
Yeah. Hey, and Taylor Cleek.
I'm here as well. What's going on, guys? For the first time, I'm spinning.
For the first time, I'm spinning from the reel.
Well, the Rager has appeared before.
Not on Spin,
but I guess you're not associated with him.
Well, my client, the Encourager, has appeared on this show before.
Okay.
I don't see what that has to do with whether I've been on. It's empirically true that I've never been on until right now.
Okay.
This is the first time Taylor Cleek has made an appearance on Spin.
This is history. This is history in the making, fellas, and it feels
He's
good.
been dodging us for months now, but finally we got him cornered.
Yeah, I can never keep up with all this Schmoedown stuff, but there was no way I was going to miss Jericho and Kevin Smith. And I may even watch the other matches you guys are talking about.
Yeah,
I may have done you that favor.
I mean, you have been getting in the Schmoedown over the last couple months, helping you.
Yeah, I mean, I've been aware of it. I've been aware of it for a while now, but because of the familiarity of the sort of analog that we're running on our channel, the Really Trivia Showdown, I'm like
our fan league,
which if you haven't seen that before, you can catch it on our YouTube channel. A lot of great content coming out of that, but yeah. So I've wanted to get familiar with the real deal, the big leagues, the Schmoedown. So I've been watching it here and there, but this match, it couldn't be missed. I couldn't be more interested than I am right now because of that match.
I mean, since we have them both here, might as well start.
Yeah, because that's what everybody wants to hear about. Honestly, it's that match, and boy, that match lived up to the hype and some. That's just my opinion, at least. I was living for it. I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. And granted, we should mention that the match, unfortunately, during the live stream of it, was interrupted by some unfortunate news. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. But man, I was so happy with the match. I'm not even talking about the outcome, which has me happy on a different level. But the match in general was everything I wanted it to be, just everything I wanted it to be, and everything I hoped it could be. So I was really excited and happy with that. How about you guys?
I posed a question to everyone because we all got to see the match, and I do, as much as I want to talk about the undercard. We can wait for that in a second, or the undercard. Because the other match on that doc or on the card was freaking phenomenal for other reasons. But this Jericho Smith match, I posed a question: did it exceed expectation for everybody here? Not only in performance, but in everything that happened in that hour that we got Jericho and Kevin Smith in the Schmoedown.
Absolutely,
without a doubt.
I think it definitely lived up to the hype, which could have been difficult to have two high-profile personalities coming in there who never did it before, who have appeal beyond the Schmoedown. You know, these are big names. That's a big get. It would have been such a shame if they went in there and it was like it was a blowout in favor of one guy. But no, it was neck and neck. I mean, it was suspenseful.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, it went to sudden death. I mean, I think we can talk about it openly now.
Yeah, we can talk about it openly.
But it went to sudden death, and like the winner scored 20 points, which is none to scoff at in a singles league in the Schmoedown. So it's absolutely nuts. For me watching the match, I'm a Jericho mark, so yeah. So I couldn't not be excited. But at the same time, like I'm a fan of Kevin Smith, so just these two people coming together, being a part of the Schmoedown is already earth shattering. The multiverse is collapsing on itself, and I really couldn't fathom it. Unfortunately, due to the news, I don't think I told you this, Matt, when we talked about this. When the news came out of Chadwick Boseman's passing, I unfortunately got the result of this match spoiled for me on Twitter. So I was bummed when not who won, because I mean Kevin Smith won, spoiler alert, but I didn't see what had happened, why he won, how he won. I'm like, oh god, he smashed Jericho. This is bad. Oh no. But it was a well fought match. Like the first round was all right. Chris Jericho scored 4. I think Kevin had 6 or 7, something like that. Yeah. And the second round, when Jericho pulled Kevin Smith, or he made him get Kevin Smith questions,
unreal.
It was nuts. Like this whole thing was phenomenal. I loved watching this match, and I saw someone put on the subreddit, the Schmoedown subreddit, like a top 10 matches of all time, and they had Jericho Smith at 10 just because of the star power and the match that we got.
Yeah,
and I think it's a fair assessment. Like this is the biggest match ever, and it exceeded expectation to me.
I was going to ask, you know, as guys who really keep up with this, beyond the hype level, would you consider this a true high point of the Schmoedown? Yeah,
as someone who's followed religiously for the last 4 years, this was one of the best matches of the Schmoedown. And granted, we've been spoiled over the last month or two with these high profile, huge tournament matches, whether it be Intergeekdom or singles, and the team match, our championship, and the regular championship. It was just like all these matches the last month or so have just been on this epic level, and I love it. But
well, I mean, even so, though, you have to think about it from a level of, you know, we are really excited for those tournament matches, and it has been fantastic. Obviously, today's match no different, but for a person who's not interested in the Schmoedown at first, that's where this is going to obviously be such a big deal, because not only was it a high-profile match, obviously, but it was two competitors who brought it. And you got to watch the undercard, obviously. Playing that game. But no, like, this was an extreme. Even if they tuned in just for Jericho and Smith, I guarantee you that they created a huge buzz for the channel.
Oh, not even that, just the fans. But that was the point I was about to make. It's just, but having those personalities themselves just be in it, have it be competitive. And I laughed because Kevin Smith actually was like, I like this game. Give me someone else. Let's go. And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith's locked in. That's all.
Give him Merle.
Wait, don't do that.
Don't. I'm kidding.
But Taylor, what were your thoughts? Because you, like you said, you don't really watch the Schmoedown at least at all. So you want to get your taste into this, and this is a great entry level match for anybody. So I'm curious into your thoughts on watching the presentation of it, especially with it being like how we're doing the show now over like StreamYards.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more compelled by it now than I ever have been. This was the first match I ever watched live. And that was a cool component, getting to really see it in real time, react to it. Matt and I were going back and forth on it. I was on the edge of my seat. The whole match, I was like, it kept going back and forth. It was like, it's anybody's game. It never felt like, oh man, Smith's got too deep of a lead. Jericho's never going to catch up. When everyone would get a little bit of ahead, the next one would beat him right there in a second. It was so suspenseful. And so like that experience, that's the kind of experience that would get me to come back and watch more of it, which I know can't be every single match. Not every match can be this star-studded super fight. But I'll tell you this, I have been keeping up to date on it a lot more having since watched. I watched the match that just ended on the channel. I watched it live. So, and also let me say, I really underestimated how much damn content they put out with this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like Matt texted me today. He was like, "Hey, try to watch this one and this one and this one." I was like, "That all happened this week?" And there was one today before this started.
So here, normally this wouldn't be a normal week. Normally we get like 2 matches a week on Thursday and Friday. But because they got the tournaments going on and they're trying to build up to the last major event of the year, that's why you got these 4 matches a week. It's normally so much easier to keep up on.
It's just a lot, man. I mean, I can't complain about it. I mean, if you like it and they're putting out content to constantly consume, that's great. But I was just like, damn.
And it's good.
Yeah, these people are grinding. And it's not including what else they do, like their regular shows that run like this or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
They're just around the clock working on it. So after that, I loved that match, and I'm more intrigued by the channel and the show in general, having come out of it. I know not all of them are going to be Jericho and Smith, but even still, I'm getting a little more familiarized with the other personalities that regularly show up on that show, and I'm figuring out who I'm a fan of. So, I mean, if I'm like this sort of audience surrogate of like bringing more people in, I'd say it's worked on me so far. And also, obviously, whenever they do Jericho Smith 2, or just have either of those guys face anybody. Like, because that's the thing. Jericho, did he pull it out in the end? No. But he went down by a 1 point
in sudden death.
Sudden death.
So, I mean, there's nothing to be ashamed of losing it 20-19. He came in there and killed it. So, like, I would still love to see him come back and take on any of the regulars. Obviously, the same goes for Kevin Smith. They both crushed it.
And Nick, you're in the same boat as I am, like where we're both like obviously fans of Chris Jericho, and you dig Kevin Smith a ton, and you've been familiar with the Schmoedown for a little bit now. Yeah. So again, like what were your 2 cents? I'm really curious because Matt and I, we talk Schmoedown every day. Yeah. So I would love you guys' 2 cents.
I mean, listen, there is no better time to be a Schmoedown fan than now. And I feel like, again, every single time that you do one of these shows, I feel like I'm thinking that in my head. It's like, wow, this is getting better and better every single week.
I say that every week,
yeah. I think that what drew me into the Schmoedown initially was, sure, there was the movie trivia side of it. And Matt and I would always try and answer the questions. But I think that what is becoming more and more fun for me, and Chris and Taylor, you're going to understand this, and Matt understands it now with what we're doing, the characters, the personalities, the wrestling gimmicks essentially are just becoming so over the top and so much fun to watch out there. I'm becoming a fan of the fact that, you do have your heels and your faces. You do have your characters that can change gimmicks almost like Lon Harris at an instant. And it's and it works so well. There are characters in it like that I want to hate because they're so good at being villains. Like that was how The Miz was when I was growing up. And then like there are just so many different people in it now that I'm beginning to enjoy more. This tournament has definitely influenced me to start getting to know a lot of these other people who are going to be participating in it. But Kevin Smith and Chris Jericho delivered, the whole channel delivered on a level that I am so amazed by. I mean, I'm sure that they would have loved to, and I don't even know if it was possible for this match to have had it in person. They probably would have pulled out all the stops for that, but for what they were given, they pulled out all the stops, and I was amazed by how the match went and just being able to watch it. I missed the first part because I was driving over to Matt's during it, and I was trying to watch it on my phone. But, for Chris Jericho to have held his own so well in the Kevin Smith category just made me so happy.
Right?
Because
so good.
Because I get why it would be there, but I was not one of those people who was hoping that it would come up because I'm like, oh, if Kevin Smith gets it, then we're all assuming obviously it's game over. I wanted something competitive. So when he did roll Kevin Smith, I was like, oh, well, this could go one of 2 ways. Either he's going to get it and this is going to be really fun, or Kevin Smith is going to take every single steal opportunity that he possibly can take with it. And Chris Jericho delivered. And, again, that was somebody that I was very interested in seeing how he was going to do. Because you see these, Kevin Smith makes movies. He lives, breathes, and dies by movies. But you don't know that Chris Jericho knows movies just as well, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Loved it.
I do want to, because you were talking pro wrestling, I want to say, if this were a pro wrestling match, if this were scripted drama, that's what you would write in the second round. You would write Chris Jericho gets Kevin Smith, somehow has to work his way out of it, and he does. Like, that's the scripted version. I'm not saying that it was scripted. I'm just saying fate gave it the most dramatic circumstances it could have happened under, and it excelled. It was just it was a perfect storm of compelling drama. I love it.
And that was my favorite part of the whole match, to be honest, because everyone was expecting, Kevin Smith's gonna get Kevin Smith, but in reality, what happened that no one, at least I saw, mentioned. What if Chris Jericho spun opponent's choice and Kevin Smith gave him his own movies?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see anyone mention that at all. And if someone did, then salute to you. My God, everyone was thinking Kevin Smith get his own movies. But Chris Jericho didn't even give Kevin Smith the opportunity to answer his own questions. Like, he answered every single one, whether he had the multiple choice or not. I was impressed. Chris Jericho pays attention. Like, he might, because... And I know when he was on SCN hyping up the match the day before or a couple days before, he was like, he was amping it up, being, Chris Jericho, freaking working everybody. And I thought to myself, like, he might pull this off. And last week on the show, Matt, I mentioned, like, it could go either way. We don't know what these guys could bring. But I just went with Jericho off of pure, I don't know. Because Chris Jericho, he's the wrestler. He can't be a rock star. He did that. He's the rock star. He can't act. He did that. He's the actor. He can't do movie trivia. And look what he just did. He took Kevin Smith, the director, the movie director, to sudden death and lost by a point to a Batman question nonetheless.
Batman. I love how Kevin Smith is like, he thought Jericho got it right because of how it had been going. He's like, I had the Penguin. And Kevin Smith, wait, I won.
I couldn't believe Jericho missed Penguin too. I was like, come on. I was like, that's a pretty softball in the sudden death. I was like, we're going for another one. He missed Penguin.
At least he said a character that was in the movie. Well, Harvey Dent was in the movie, but I was shook.
But he's in the series.
But I was tripping. It was Batman Returns. Yeah. But at least he understood what the period was and what movies he was talking about.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. And I knew Kevin Smith got it. He's a Batman Mark. He's the fat man on Batman. Like, what the hell?
It's just awesome that with how the match had gone to that point, he even tripped. He's like, did I trip myself up? Like, is this real? Did I really just fuck up like this?
Like, the match was fantastic overall, and I knew watching it, I'm like, this rocks. Like, this is exactly what, and I'm so glad Taylor was like he's like our pseudo entryway Schmoedown watcher, because that's exactly, I guarantee, what Christian was thinking of.
Yeah.
When he booked this match, he's like, oh my God, I just got Chris Jericho and Kevin Smith. This is what's going to bring in new people. And now we got Taylor over here watching the singles tournament, trying to catch up with what's going on.
I just watched The Barbarian, man. I have no spoilers, but I watched that.
and we're about to talk about it in a little bit.
No spoilers, but being that you're a character guy, what do you think of The Barbarian?
So here's the thing. I agree with you guys. When it comes to character work, that's what I want. I don't just want to watch two guys sit down and have movie trivia.
I couldn't agree more.
That's not entertaining. I want to see a show. But here's the thing. I want even more. I see The Barbarian. He's got a little fur on his shoulder. I'm like, this is a good start. I want to see like a battle axe. I want him to like run through a wall. I want to see him screaming. I want to see even more character work. But so far, I like that. And let me ask you, what's up with this Gucci dude?
Gucci.
Look, that's a whole different can of worms that we can open another day. But I'm so glad you mentioned the character work, because the match before Kevin Smith and Chris Jericho was Andrew Guy versus Ben Bateman.
Before we go on, the fact that Kevin Smith's 5-pointer was a Bruce Willis question.
Yeah, too. After talking his smack about Bruce Willis on SCN, it's like, come on.
A week before, it's like, and Nick and I are like, I don't know who this is. I would have got Jericho's 5-pointer, but I would not have gotten Kevin's.
Yeah, missing 5 points on a Bruce Willis. It's like you almost can't script that. It would be too
obvious. No, you can't write that. And then he redeems himself with Batman. That match ruled. It was so good.
It was destiny. It was meant to happen that way.
But King segue into Andrew Guy talking about character work and really diving into a character to the point where I don't know, Matt, if you've seen the Action Guys from this past Sunday, but Andrew Guy got to talk about it, and he said he got lost playing the character. He was too into being the character.
You could so see that, definitely.
So, Taylor, watching Andrew Guy do his thing, at least compared to what Ben Bateman was doing, Ben Bateman's straight guy with his history of being in team action, which I hope you get to at some point, watching the team action matches. But then watching the contrast with Andrew Guy, how was that for you as the big, I'm a pro wrestling fan and I love characters?
See, that's the thing. I was loving what Guy was bringing, and I've seen some of the feedback to that where people were saying it was too much, it was over the top, it was distracting. His head wasn't in it. But the whole time I was sitting there, I was like, this dude's bombing, but I'm having a great time watching him bomb. I love just the manic energy, the insane laughter, the sweat. He's got props, throwing stuff. I'm like,
he's drinking.
Yeah, they're like, this is what I'm here for. I mean, I thought it was a great lead into the main event. And it didn't go his way by any stretch of the imagination. So whether or if it's a good thing for anybody to take it that hard, I don't know. But I was sitting there, I was like, I like this guy. He's not doing well, but I like this guy because he's entertaining.
I was telling Matt the same thing as I was watching that match. I'm like, dude, Guy is great.
Hey, one BLT.
Cheers, one BLT.
Hell yeah, brother. What's up? But not Nick, you were saying?
I mean, I was texting Matt as I was, even before the match, I just love Andrew Guy because he's the Miz of the movie Trivia Schmoedown. Not anymore. But
he was.
Because I hated Andrew Guy. And that was what he wanted, was for me to hate Andrew Guy. Yeah. He was such an asshole. And then he just transforms into this character that if I wasn't a Schmoedown fan, but I was a wrestling fan, I would be waiting to see who the Schmoeminati was.
Yes.
If Christian Harloff was going to take off his robe and say it was me all along or something.
I have a theory about the Schmoeminati, and I'll get to that in a second. But
continue. I definitely want to hear it because I know who his former team leader was, and I don't think that he'll ever be back. But I'm just
let's not go there.
Who is the Schmoeminati? And
who's it consist of?
Right. Is it a person? Is it Andrew Guy himself? I don't even know. I want to know.
He's working us into a shoot? Oh, no.
Excuse me? It's what?
I said, is it the two greatest players in the league?
You think?
It could be.
You think it's the founding fathers? Okay.
But, I mean, that wasn't my theory, but that's another good one. But I loved what Andrew brought. The match itself, I tell you, right. It wasn't the best match for Andrew, but as an entry-level person, I'm still glad you dug it because that was the concern. Did Andrew do too much? Mm-hmm. Did he get lost in it to the point where regular people that were just tuning in because Chris Jericho, Kevin Smith, let me watch that. And I mean, to me, I love the hell out of this thing because just look back 6 months ago. Look at what Andrew Guy was doing. He was the debonair. He was still I'm hot shit. And freaking in July, he goes off the rails and the Schmoeminati takes over his life. And now here he is sweating up a storm, drinking Bacardi out the bottle. And you try to hide it, Andrew, but I know I saw you. But I loved what Andrew was doing, especially with Ben there. And Ben, his former team action partner, this match.
And best friend. They've said they're best friends.
And they're real life best friends. But to keep kayfabe alive, brother, they both... we got what we expected out of both of them. Andrew's character work and Ben being the first person ever to go perfect in singles.
Yeah, that was
that's insane, bro. That is.
Did he not miss a single one?
He did not miss a single question.
And got all questions at full point value.
Holy shit!
Didn't need a multiple choice.
He's the first person in singles history.
Wow.
To go perfect.
Dan Merle would have been the first person if it weren't for the one multiple choice question he asked back in the live event in New York against Ethan Irwin.
So they're considering that they're considering that to be not using your multiple choice would be
imagine a no-hitter in baseball is when you walk somebody or your team gets an error. So what Dan did was a no-hitter. What Ben did was a perfect game.
Okay, wow. I got you. I got you.
It's Ben's, and the crazy part is that was the second thing people were talking about. It wasn't even being mentioned that night.
I didn't catch it.
No one gave a shit that Ben went perfect. Andrew
all
was
talking
the
about
talking
Andrew
point.
Guy. Yeah.
Andrew was the talking point. So whether you thought, oh, this man went nuts. Oh, he tanked the match. That's another thing people were saying. He blew it. But at the same time, hearing him talk about it on Action Guys, like he was like, nah, like I tried, but the character was putting all this pressure on him. And then the second round, Tim Burton was his pick on the wheel. That was his. What's going on, Toby? Toby got a Facebook now.
Toby. So, I saw that random friend request. I'm like, oh hey, Toby.
Trust me, it scared the hell out of me too. I'm like, is this the Toby Barwell? There's only one, but
it's the ghost in his room. It's the ghost in his room taking over.
It's the guy that was under pressure on the
We haven't seen Toby since Sunday, so like they might have a point.
That could have been the last happy Sunday we ever had.
Yeah, another one bites the dust. But look, I'm just saying that Andrew's work got in the way of him. Tim Burton was his pick on the wheel, and the second he missed that big fish question, it all went downhill.
I couldn't believe he missed
when
that.
He missed that. I was like, "You missed Ewan McGregor."
You knew it was bad when I knew the correct answer. And
well, he was so lost in it that he didn't even hear the question properly or something.
Exactly.
Was it? Yeah.
So the match it was out. The talking point isn't the match with the exception of Ben. Like that was definitely something to note and just another feather in Ben Bateman's cap. But Andrew Guy, and holy hell, what this man has taken this character work to a whole new level. And yeah, Lon is damn close, but to me, Andrew's on a whole different plane. He's S tier to me as of right now. Like Andrew, the work that Andrew's done in the last few years, his team action, going into the like Dastardly to Debonair to this one, the like Disturbed, whatever the hell his nickname's going to be. Like Andrew's has done incredible things, and the fact that he was the talking point after Friday, I don't know what the hell else I can say about Andrew's performance just in the Schmoedown in general.
Well, I'll pose the question to the spin from the real guys. Sorry, Taylor. So, like you mentioned that you would put him above Lon Harris, but I would argue myself, and I just want to know your thoughts on this. Would you put Lon Harris above because it hasn't impacted Lon Harris's game that he's doing this character so well? Obviously, it's easy to get lost in the fun of everything and of acting as that character, lost in the sauce. But like to me, Lon hasn't necessarily missed a step when it came to answering his questions, where Guy obviously got way too into it. So I would say that Lon is the S tier in my opinion. But
Matt, do you want to take the lead on this?
So here's the thing. Lon has been doing great character work, yes. But like people didn't care for his professor character work. It is what it is.
Oh, I'm talking now. Yeah.
Oh, no. But I can't even bring myself to put Lon. I love Lon as a delinquent because you have a steady body of work over like the last 4 years because Team Action Schmoedown right after I started getting into it. I remember watching the first match. Guy has been this consistent force, and Guy has been that character who he'll go in the Facebook pages and comment on stuff and drive his character work even into the Facebook pages. You don't get that as much with Lon Harris, and to even say just because of recency bias,
right,
that Lon is above Guy, I couldn't do it. Can't do it.
And so to back up Matt's point, like Lon's been doing that recently. Like on the Facebook pages, he'd be like, "Oh, it's my match today," or the time he popped up in a different match and it wasn't his match that day. Like that's great. Like that's great content and it's great work for Lon. Like Lon's, to me, it's 1A and 1B. And what Lon's doing with the delinquent right now is fantastic. But to back up what Matt said, Andrew has been doing this since Team Action, and excuse me if I'm wrong, faced the Night Sisters however so many seasons ago when Team Action first showed up. When Team Action showed up, I had no idea who the hell these guys were. No idea. And that was, at the time, the Schmoedown was like Merle from Screen Junkies and Campia from Collider. Like, it was all these names that we knew. Right. But they were bringing in these people from Popcorn Talk. That's where we got the Kalinowskis of the world, another great character guy. But Andrew, he set that precedent the second he got here. Like, Mark Andreyko, he did an interview. He's done interviews with people since he joined the league, and he would be the first person to tell you he did not. Well, I shouldn't say hated. He did not like Ben or Andrew when they first showed up because he thought they were their character. Like, they're just pieces of garbage. They're just the worst. But then he got to talk to them one day, and he was like, "Oh no, these guys are actually really great. They're great dudes." Mm-hmm. But just the character they put on when the camera's on, right? It's this next level thing. And Andrew's been doing that ever since he showed up.
Yeah.
And Lon, the professor, people cared about the professor, but like the storyline with the professor really fizzled out. Mm-hmm. Especially when Cody Hall wasn't participating anymore, and and Christian Ruvalcaba wasn't there. RB3, all that stuff fizzled out. But everything Andrew's done, and for me, Matt can attest to this. I prefer the characters. I'm like Taylor. Screw the movie trivia. Right. The characters why I show up. And Andrew is my favorite personality in the Schmoedown because he's so entertaining to watch. I don't give a shit if he gets knocked out at a pay-per-view or if he beats Dan Murrell. Just those two performances alone are two of the best the Schmoedown's ever seen, regardless of movie trivia. Like, Taylor, if you haven't seen it, go watch Dan Murrell versus Andrew Guy. You will lose your mind watching that match. Because it's nuts, especially with the hype package before that, hyping up Dan's return and seeing what Andrew does when Andrew shows up. It's freaking awesome. But that's why I put Andrew S tier. Like Roka's up there too. Like I said, Lon's up there too. Kalinowski. There are some great characters, but Andrew. I said this to Matt when we were talking about like team action or something. I said Ben Bateman may be the headmaster at the Ben Bateman School for Schmoedown studying, but Andrew Guy is the headmaster of Schmoedown character work, 100%.
One BLT. I'll pop the link to the Schmoedown page in the chat so you can be able to check it out that way. Till after the show though.
And one BLT, if you like what they do, you should check out what we do over on our channel.
Our little fan league, really trivia showdown.
Only on our YouTube. We don't stream it.
Yeah. We take kayfabe and we fucking rip it to shreds, and we go nuts on the Really Trivia Show. But go ahead and check that out. But no, Matt, Andrew Guy is fantastic.
And I do want to ask Matt, because with the consistency I'm noticing here is that Chris, Nick, and myself love the character work. Probably not a coincidence. We also are pro wrestling heads, whereas you aren't really. So I'm curious, how do you feel about character work versus just coming in and knowing your shit and getting the answers right?
The character work is actually why I watch the Schmoedown.
Okay, so you like it as well, yeah.
Yeah, no, I love as much as I love the trivia, because me being a big trivia guy, I like playing along with it. I've played along with almost every match I watch. But the character Chris brings up, Andrew Guy is his favorite character. My favorite character is arguably the reason we have the characters we do today in the Schmoedown, and that's John Roca.
The Outlaw, baby.
John was like the first real character playing the Outlaw in the Schmoedown. Everybody else was just kind of a goofier version of themselves. But Christian, if you go and watch SEN, and whenever he talks about the Schmoedown and how far it's come, he always goes as to mention, we wouldn't be here now where we are without John Roca, because John Roca was the first guy to understand, this is like wrestling. So you want me to have the character work. I got you. And he's been on the forefront of it.
Once I got that aspect of it, of like, it's characters, they cut promos, they talk shit. Once I got that aspect of it, I was like, okay, now I'm interested. Because I used to listen to movie fights kind of semi-regularly, and I liked it all right, but I got tired of it because I was like, just people are arguing over movies.
It's the same show over and over again.
Yeah, I got tired of it. There's a lot more flavor to it. There's a lot more nuance to it. And I'm learning, who do I like? What characters do I enjoy? And that's what's going to keep me coming back. And I tell you what, again, he didn't do so well in terms of scoring, but next time I see Andrew Guy's name on the title, I'm going to tune into that one because I want to see what that madman's going to do next. I thought it was great. And maybe that's the casual fan. That's what'll keep people coming back in. So maybe they must understand that.
That's how you build a fan base.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it weren't the first match out, so the first couple Schmoedown matches I ever watched were the Force Brothers versus, the Star Wars matches, Force Brothers versus Collider and all that. And I took a break for a while, and then I came back because I'm like, those was kind of cool. And what's this championship match? Roca versus Merle. That was the one that I'm like, okay, I'm here for it. I'm in. You've got my attention. Let's go from here and see what else you can do. And I haven't missed an episode since.
And they have they do pay-per-view, they do gimmick pay-per-views. They do the free-for-all, which is like the Royal Rumble but with movie trivia.
Perfect.
And it's nuts. And they've done 3 of them, and all 3 are fantastic. They get better as they go because they get this past one had 50 people.
Last year's, because we didn't get this past.
Yeah, we didn't get one this year, but last year had 50 people.
Yeah, COVID. Literally, the weekend it was supposed to happen, everything shut down.
Oh yeah! Wow. I wasn't even thinking about that.
That was the last big show we were supposed to get.
I was so upset. I remember Chris and I messaging each other like, man.
It's the Royal Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view. I've mentioned that every time I talk wrestling on anything.
Yeah.
But free for all, it's a blast to watch. Granted, the show's 4 hours long, and it's way too goddamn long. But it's fantastic, and it keeps the interest because it's like the Royal Rumble where you have the first 5, and you may have a stud in there, like a Roca or Merle. But as you get later, the 45s, and then you hear Drew McWeeney's music, or you hear Dan Merle's music at the time. He came out to the Jaws music. So it's oh hell, that's nuts. And everyone's been in there for an hour doing trivia.
That's what I love about the free for all, because they never say who's entering first. They just say introducing, and you start hearing the music.
Yeah.
You're oh, it's this. Oh, hell yeah.
I love that this has turned into giving Taylor recommendations for
yeah, no, I'll take it.
But no.
Give me that greatest hits compilation. I'm into it.
But
this past Friday was a big way to really introduce someone to the Schmoedown formally, and I'm glad you watched it in its entirety so you can really get a feel for it, because that's why we start the show, because Matt and I were this is so good when you talk about it.
You're talking about Schmoedown through messages and leaving it little messages man, I wish we could talk about this more. Man, I wish we could talk about this more.
Yeah.
And as soon as we started this network towards the end of last year, Chris and I are after the semester ends, let's actually go through with making that Schmoedown show we talked about.
Yeah.
And now here we are talking about all the crazy stuff. But because of what happened with Guy and Bateman, we officially have the championship match on September 11th. Dan Merle versus Ben Bateman 2, the sequel to their show in February that they put on. Probably the best match of the year, if not one of the best matches of all time. And we're getting the sequel 7 months later.
Yeah. I want to ask Nick how he feels about this, because Nick was watching that event with me live back in February. So we were losing our minds watching it. And I was so torn, because I'm such a big fan of Bateman now that he's a face. Than I was when he was a heel.
He was damn good at both. He's
damn good at both.
No, he is, yeah.
But Nick's always been the Dan Merle stan. So,
I mean, listen, if I was Dan Merle right now and I watched that Guy versus Bateman match, I'd probably be like, "What the hell is wrong with Andrew Guy?" But no, then I would be like, "Holy crap, perfect game!" The wheel. The wheel definitely helps. I think he definitely got a category of his strength. But when you get down to it, these are guys who obviously are so good that they know the majority of what's on the wheel. They can spin anything and it would automatically become somewhat of a strength. Obviously, you're not going to be able to watch everything. But if you know your stuff, you know your stuff. I definitely wheeled on the side of Dan Merle. Hopefully, I've loved Dan Merle since he was on Screen Junkies. That was one of the things about the Schmoedown initially that drew me in, was when I saw the new Merle Order shirt. I'm like, oh, well, I know who that guy is. I didn't know much about him, but I knew who Dan Merle was. And I was like, all right, well, I can watch this and actually root for somebody right now. Now, obviously, I've become interested in more and more characters as time has gone on. But Merle has always had my allegiance no matter what. When he left, I was upset. And when he came back, I was very happy. But he's going to need to bring it against Bateman, because holy crap. That was an incredible match, and it could go either way. Obviously, no matter what, it's still points for the Finstock Exchange, right?
Yes.
I mean,
They're still going to end up with, what is it, 4 points for a championship, Chris?
I'm the last guy you should consult for the points. Christian came on. Like, he didn't come on, but he was commenting on their show one day. Explain to us the points. I still didn't get it.
It needs a chart.
Yeah, I need like a flow chart. Like, you get this amount of points if you do this. You get this amount of points if you do this. It's so confusing. But either way, like you said, like Finstock Exchange will come out on top regardless.
But it's like, who within the Finstock Exchange? Because, like, there was already some. I think what's going to be interesting playing into it. There's one aspect of this match that is going to be very interesting, and that is John Roca. Now, you might be wondering, why did I say John Roca? He's not in this match, but he is the partner of Dan Murrell. And I could see that there is some tension between him and Bobby Gucci. So I'm wondering, if Murrell loses and he starts to play more into the allegiance of Bateman, because obviously, how could you not after that 21-point straight win? Was it 21? I think it was something like that. How could you not be on his side? It's going to be really interesting. What's going to be interesting for these championship matches is when people within their own factions face against each other, because that's where you're going to really see the allegiance of different people. And I'm really intrigued by this match, because I think that it's going to have an impact on the season moving forward and the season beyond that.
I mean, you're not wrong, because even in February when Merle won, there was that little scuffle at the end of it between Bateman and Roca. So, like, the seeds have already been planted. And granted, we don't know who's going into the team tournament yet. Apparently, Gucci went on a show and said, "Yeah, I'm not putting who's the boss in. I got to go. Who's going to get me the points?"
It wasn't explicitly said, but it was definitely like, I'm putting in the Founding Fathers.
Yeah. But he did say, I can't put who's the boss in. That was explicitly said. Now, it's either going to be a Founding Fathers or a new team. Or
a combination of anybody. But the whole thing with the Finstock Exchange and the future of it, and Taylor, this might sound like Latin to you, so we'll explain. We'll get to it maybe when we're not doing the show. But the whole thing with factions, and as wrestling fans, as wrestling guys, I actually want you guys' 2 cents. I don't know if I've asked you yet, Nick, but say for example, it's D-Generation X, like late 90s DX. So it's like, Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, Jesse James, all those guys, And imagine if Triple H was world champion and he's like, yeah, I'm the champ and I'm with DX. Oh yeah. And then imagine if Shawn Michaels got an opportunity for the belt and Shawn won. You guys think Triple H would be happy for him if he won?
No. So that's where it's like, yeah, like, how is this going to go? I am generally curious how this is going to go, and I wonder where Murrell and Roca will go after they're in the Finstock Exchange. Oops, did I say that out loud?
I mean,
Matt and I would talk about that on the show every week, and we agree every week. and we won't know until I think after the teams tournament, which I don't know when the hell that's going to start.
Riley has basically been the only one who's like, Finstock's the only one that makes sense. We ride them without. That's Riley's been the only one of the main 4 members to really come out and say that.
But at the same time, okay, say he doesn't sign with anybody else towards the end of the season. So Taylor, just to give a little context, there's factions in the league right now. Every faction, I believe, has 9 or 10 players.
9 to 10, yeah.
So who we're talking about now, the Finstock Exchange, is that guy Bobby Gucci. He's the head of it. He's the manager of it. Dan Murrell, John Roca, Ben Bateman are all in the same faction. And every time you win a match,
that's the mega power shit right there.
It is. And every time you win a match, you get points for your faction. Winning faction at the end of the year receives a prize of some sort, I believe. And then the last one, the manager cannot be a manager next season. Whoever places last. So,
granted, that might have changed due to situations that happened throughout earlier this season.
Either way, you don't want to be last. You want to win. So these 3 guys, they've been all like, oh yeah, we're gonna win for the faction. And then Christian announced that at the end of the season, each manager for each faction has 3 signees they can have going into the draft in January. So that's been a big money question. who's Bobby Gucci going to sign for his team? Is it going to be Dan Murrell, John Roca, Ben Bateman, Mark Riley, the Barbarian, who you just saw earlier, or Andrew DiMolanta in the Star Wars division? Who's he going to pick? What three? That's the big question for every manager, but especially the Finstock Exchange, because it's like Mount Rushmore. It's the mega powers over there. Like they don't know what the hell is going to happen. So that's the big question, and we have no idea. It's September. There's still a lot of league left, still a lot of season left, but we're still talking about it, and this has been a topic of conversation since late July, especially with John Roca. So we don't know what the hell's happening. I don't think John Roca and Dan Murrell will be on the Finstock Exchange next year, but that's just me. If it's not Swag, I'm still campaigning for the dungeon, but it's a big thing. But the teams tournament will play a huge part. It will be a huge aspect into what will happen next season.
Let me ask you, because I'm curious, because what you've just described basically sounds like the cream of the crop. The top players are all on the same team.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to root for any of them, or should I want to see them fail?
I mean,
that's up to you.
Because that sounds like straight villainy to me.
But they're not in first place right now. That's the craziest part. Like
Yeah,
they were in first place.
I can't say what's going on because it would spoil this last match. But they're in the top three. That's what we can say.
They're top three, and they've been interchanging with Swag, who was in charge of Winston Marshall, who we had on the show a couple weeks ago. He's the manager of that faction, and then Corruption, which you'll get familiar with in a bit. They're also in the top three. Those three teams have been ruling the last 2 months, and there's a bunch of other factions with a bunch of other players that you should still keep an eye on, because some of my favorite players are scattered throughout all these factions. But if I had to pick a favorite faction, it's probably Swag or Corruption. But I love Ben Bateman on the Finstock Exchange. So I mean, you can root for whoever you want to root for.
I've heard a lot. I've heard you guys talk about Corruption a lot, and I still haven't quite figured out who and what that means. But I can tell there's a lot of momentum and hype behind this group.
There's a lot of history with Corruption as well.
Oh, okay.
They're the heels. I mean, if you want to drop kayfabe for a second, they're the heels of the league, and like everyone they do an incredible job of it.
I love a good heel. I mean, again, that's the pro wrestling in me. It's when you see a good villain, you can't help but end up loving them. That's the dynamic there. So that's why I'm curious about Finstock, because when I hear the best of the best and they're all on the same team, I'm thinking NWO, WCW. I'm like, I'm sick of looking at these guys. They're all dressed the same. They never lose. I'm tired of it. That's what I'm thinking of when I hear this team.
And I guarantee a lot of people think just like that, especially the last month that they had. Every pay-per-view had a person from except the tag team, and Inner Geek the Mesh. But like majority of the pay-per-views in August had a member of the Finstock Exchange being in the main event at some point. Whether it was Roca, whether it was the Fighting Fathers as a team, whether it was Ben Bateman, to me in the double main event that we just got this past Friday, they're heavily involved. And if you look on the standings on their website, Schmoedownlive.com, I think it's what the website is, you can see how many matches they played. Holy hell. Like, they played a butt ton of matches. Granted, the tournament just started, so everyone's playing. But it's crazy, especially the first few months. They were in the lead for 8 months. They were in the lead in regards to faction points. They just got overtaken, and now Corruption and Swag are neck and neck with them because the last few months and the tournaments that have been going on.
So Dan Murrell's defending the title against Ben Bateman, but they're technically on the same team.
Yes.
That's your Schmoedown right there. The fix is in, man.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that back up. I forgot. So my theory for the Schmoedown. So on Friday, we're watching this match with Ben and Andrew, right? All of us were all like, like what the hell's happening with Andrew? You know, the one person that was there for the entire freaking undercard portion, and that was confused or that was real like uck about it, was Mark Ellis. So let me rock with this for a second. Let me back this up. Mark Ellis used to be a competitor. He's a co-founder of the movie trivia Schmoedown, and he's no stranger to putting on a little character, having a little fun sometimes. I mean, neither is Christian, but Christian he's the commish. He's not going to compete ever again, at least in traditional play. At least I don't think so. But Mark, if anyone's going to leave the announcer desk and jump back in to either be a manager of some sort or to be involved in the Schmoedown more so than being a little like announcer guy, it's going to be Mark Ellis. And you could just hear it in his voice when regarding Andrew Guy. how he was about it.
Yeah, I picked up on that, and I don't even know these guys. I picked up on that.
And I'm saying, I'm like, yo, like, what the hell's Mark's deal? I love Mark Ellis, but I don't know. I don't like how he's talking to Andrew. Like, is there something there? This might not be where they're going in regards to the Schmoedown at all. But they have to keep that Mark seed planted, at least to me, because it makes a lot of sense having one of the guys that's not the guy, because Christian's the guy in the Schmoedown, not Mark. And you can play the angle of like Mark's shitty that he's not the guy or he's not co-guys with Christian. So having Andrew take one of Christian's stars and, for lack of a better word, like corrupting him into being like, oh God, like, why am I here? Like, what's happening? There's so much ickiness in the league. Like, what the hell? And then you can bring in other people into this. You can start a faction. Cut the bottom faction at the end of the year. Cut them, whoever it is. Give Mark his own faction.
Give the Schmoedown. I was literally thinking that as you were saying that. I'm like, do you think the Schmoedown is going to have his own faction by the end of this?
Schmoedown, Mark's the manager, and your 3 picks to go on the Founding Fathers gimmick, Rocco, Merle, Guy.
Ooh, I like that. Mic drop.
That's my pitch.
You have an eye for story. You see it. I mean, I'm hook, line, and sinker buying this. I'm like, I'll keep up with this narrative.
Because we got to see a payoff to Schmoedown. Like, whether it's Sam Levine, like Sam's just playing coy to everything, or it's someone we don't expect,
or it's Coy
playing coy.
I don't know.
Like Coy Janju. Like, who knows? We don't know where this is going to go. I don't know if even Christian knows where this is going. But I would love to see Mark Ellis step down from the announcing table, because we've seen a bunch of great people step in for Christian and Mark, whether it was Danielle Ramirez from Call to Action this past match with Silvestrini and Shannon Miller, or it could be Brianne Chandler from Miss Movies. Like, there are other people that could step in and do matches. Bring back Rachel. Like, come on. Like, she's one of the best. But Mark can step down, be his own manager for a faction. Mark knows how to talk. Like, he's a talker.
He does. He's an expert at that.
He gets it. Have Andrew and the Founding Fathers, or another team, another great team. It could be freaking Who's the Boss, but rename them. Don't have him be Who's the Boss. Have him be somebody else. But this could work. It could work if done correctly, and depending on how the season plans out. Because there's so many stories interweaving with each other, all these factions. There are arguably too many factions, too many players to keep track of. But the Schmoedown is one of the most interesting things of the year, and it's only been a couple of months. It's only been 2 months. So what the hell?
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yep. Anybody? Oh,
Taylor?
sorry.
Oh,
did I freeze? Everybody froze on my end. I don't know if I froze on your end.
Oh, no, I froze too.
Okay, we all just froze up.
It's because Matt's hosting this thing. Every time Matt hosts it, something has to go wrong.
He's not even here. It's just the ambient effect he gives off. No, all I was going to say is I hope you're right, and that just doesn't fizzle out into baseless conspiracy, which it could be. I guess that would be an aspect of a man losing his mind and going delirious. But I hope you're right. It's much more fascinating to me if he is correct, and something does come out of this. I think because I'm learning so much about this today. I'm learning about the characters and the dynamics and the history. I'm thinking, I'm hearing this group of the best, and they all hang out and they're buddies. It's like trouble either has to come from within and break them all up, or they have to embrace how unlikable it is for the best of the best to all be on the same team, so much so that you could have this big hyped up title fight, and no matter what, you're keeping the belt in the family. I mean, that to me, that's a heel group. That's where the conspiracy is in. Also, what's up, Fat TV? Fat TV? What's up, man? You've been here before. Thanks for coming back.
No, what's going on, Fat TV, if we're pronouncing it correctly. That's another great point. And that's been my problem. Like, as if I could have a problem with the league, is the weighing of factions. The draft that they had in January, how they did it was that if you were a champion, or if you were within like a top 5 rankings for singles and teams, your manager got to keep you. I believe that's how it was. And Matt, correct me if I'm wrong. But so that's why the Finstock Exchange is together, because the 4 horsemen, soon to be the 5 horsemen, were Gucci, Bateman, Riley, Merle, and Roca. They were their own team. And they all got to be under the same umbrella when Finstock was the head of the Finstock exchange, so he got to keep them. That was his picks. His first 4 picks in the draft were those 4 guys.
Because top 5 teams were protected, and Ben was teamed with Riley and the champion. And if you were the champion, you were automatically protected by your manager. So Bateman was the first pick. So Riley was technically the second pick. So they got picked together
because they were who's the boss, and they still are.
And because the founding fathers were champions, when Dan got picked, technically Roca got picked too, but then Finstock made the stupid decision of doing them one by one in each round, and he nearly blew up the team in the beginning of the season because of that.
Roca literally was technically a 4th round pick, which is blasphemous if you think about it in the Schmoedown. But that was the storyline in the first month and a half. I was 4th round pick. Finstock picked me 4th.
He came onto the stage pissed as all hell because
he was, and this was at the Comedy Store. They did it live, they pre-recorded the draft, at least the first 5 rounds. And Roca lost his mind, which I mean, it's what we expected of John Roca, because that's halfway of what he felt like and what the character felt like. It was a mixture of the two. But he was like, I'm no 4th round pick. I should have been whatever. And
I've been in the first, this, that, and the other. And
so that was a whole thing, but it fizzled out.
He Gucci made the mistake that Sam Levine nor Coy made when he drafted his respective teams, technically 1 and 2. He's like, I'm taking he could have gone into the first round and said, I'm taking the 4 horsemen. And then all 4 would have been taking the first round, and no feelings would have been hurt whatsoever.
And you decide who gets chosen. You make up that narrative in yourself. Yeah.
But he made the idiotic decision, as much as I love Gucci, he made the idiotic decision of going, I'm taking this person this round, this person next round, this person next round, and finishing off with this person. Those, even though they were already technically my 4 picks.
It was a bad start to the league to the season, but I mean they were in first place until July or early August. So I think they're fine. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
But we're almost an hour into the show, and we have not talked about one of the tournament matches. In the slightest.
That's the consequence of getting me on here, man.
No. I mean, because I think having you on today is the perfect situation, because you are virtually new to the showdown, the Schmoedown. So we're getting to see it through your eyes, and you're asking these questions, and that's kind of important. This is the kind of stuff that Christian likes to hear and see, because this kind of stuff is what's helped build this league up. So,
and Matt and I, we come on the show every week, and we talk about we recap everything, we preview stuff, but we never get to talk about it from your POV, because Matt and I haven't had that perspective in years.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm more than happy to talk about it, but I'm curious, what other matches did you watch besides the match on Friday? At least we can dive into.
I saw the match last night. Snyder
and Robert Montana.
Are we talking about that one today?
Yeah, we'll be talking about that one.
Yeah.
What else are you? What did you? What all?
I think I saw all the ones you said. The Kalinowski one. I listened
the Kalinowski
to that.
Perry.
And then there was one more I also listened to.
The one from Monday. Which
was it Chance and Del Rio?
I didn't send him. I forgot to mention the Chance.
Oh, damn!
But the one from Monday is the one I told him about.
And what's Silvestrini and Shannon Miller?
That's it. Yeah. Sorry, I don't have everybody's names memorized yet, but I listened to that one as well. So yeah, I think I'm as caught up. I did all my homework I think I needed to do.
Yeah, well, most of it. One of them was my fault, but hey.
Ellison and Del Rio. I mean,
we're gonna start off with the one that you haven't. This is another learning one from. This is my fault.
I'll just sit here and watch, baby. Just put me in the corner and I'll watch.
All right.
So on Thursday, the day before, probably the best pay-per-view the Toronto's ever put on, we got Chance Ellison, who's already the Inner Geekdom tournament winner. He won the whole Inner Geekdom tournament to have the right to face the champion at Spectacular, the big send-off pay-per-view before the end of the year. And Shanju Dandapani, he faced Diamond David Del Rio. Dave Del Rio is 1-2 in the Schmoedown. He's only had 3 matches in the last year and a half. And he's an actor. He's another actor that came into the league, and he was good. He just faced some tough competitions. That's why he's 1-2. But oh my God, Chance and Del Rio put on the best match of the tournament so far, by far. It was the most. I was losing my mind, shaking in my boots. I was watching that match at work, which was a huge mistake, because I was squirming in my chair like, "Yo, this is insane." The match went to sudden death, another sudden death match, in the tournament, first round.
Yeah.
And Chance won by 1 point, further proving how much of a threat he is. But Diamond Dave put on a freaking show, man.
Well, Chance also showed some cracks in his armor too. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm with Roxy. Like, how are you the number one contender in Inner Geekdom and you missed? You had to go to multiple choice on what were relatively two easy Inner Geekdom questions.
In his defense,
where were they?
In his defense, they were like he had been studying for singles. Single. I know that you're not going to retain everything.
You put it on the wheel, though.
But you're not going to retain everything. And don't say you agree with Roxy, because Roxy was out here, the losing manager. She was like, "Oh, you suck!
No.
You suck!"
I said in this aspect.
Because Roxy was losing her damn mind.
How do you have to go?
Roxy's
to
a heel. I picked that.
Yeah,
up.
she is. Yeah. She's a great one at it too. But on Thursday, she was tripping. She was like, "Oh, Chance sucks." She just beat your competitor. Like he just beat your guy. So what the hell? It doesn't make any sense. I understand where you're coming from. He put Inner Geekdom on and didn't get all the points, even though he's the Inner Geekdom number one contender. But he was focusing on these like singles. The singles division is the hardest division to get a grasp on, because Inner Geekdom, they were handed a bunch of movies.
It's a tight 300 movies, and that's it.
Yeah,
singles.
These are the movies you are studying. Here's a list. Bang. So go watch Jonah Hex 50 times and come back and answer Jonah Hex questions. That's what Inner Geekdom is.
Yeah.
Freaking singles is everything else.
Right.
Every other movie that came out ever. And Chance was focusing on that. And that's why he's such a kick-ass singles competitor. And I know, he shows his chinks in his armor. But, like, Diamond Dave Del Rio, someone I thought he was going to stomp, someone I thought Chance was just going to walk all over, brought it as well. They both missed their fives, if I'm not mistaken. Let me refer to my notes, because I'm over here being a scholar and I took notes on these matches. But they went to sudden death. They both missed their freaking fives, and Chance Ellison won off a Hulk Hogan question.
Yep.
It was a Suburban Commando question.
The smile on Taylor's face as soon as he heard Hulk Hogan.
Wrestlers in film. Great category idea.
I think the question was like Christopher Lloyd and this other person play a couple in what Hulk Hogan movie, and I'm like, oh my god, a Hulk Hogan movie in the Schmoedown? I'm tripping. And it was Suburban Commando. That's the first one I came out. That's the only Hulk Hogan movie I can name off the top of my head right now. It's Suburban Commando. And Chance pulled it. What'd you say?
Did I say Ready to Rumble? Ignore me. I'm out.
No, you're good.
That's what David Del Rio guessed, if I remember correctly.
And I mean, that's the question he won off of. Do I have the score? No, I don't. Of course not.
Oh wait, Ready to Rumble is a Hulk Hogan movie, isn't it?
Yeah. Is Suburban Commando the one where he's like riding a motorcycle and you can see somebody in the background throw a dog in the ocean?
Is that
Do you know what I'm Maybe Nick knows what I'm talking about.
Is that just Anchorman?
It sounds familiar.
Like it's not part of the.
It's not into the water.
It's not part of the film. Like somebody in the background was filmed throwing a dog into the ocean.
We can't love animal cruelty here at Who Are They? But no, the match that Chance and Del Rio had.
Nick's looking. Yeah,
Chance had some kink in his chinks in his armor, but what else do you need Chance to prove? What else?
Whatever. I really want to have him and the Queen or the Queen of Corruption on here talk, because like I'm just saying I got some questions. I got the journalist in me.
Champ, he's the one that beat the Founding Fathers, not Mike.
I know.
He beat Dan and Roca, tag champion now. He just dominated the Inner Geekdom tournament. He came into the singles tournament. The busiest man in the Schmoedown is Chance Ellison by far. And here he is. Yeah, he's not going to be perfect, but geez, he went.
I don't know. With how killer he was in that Founding Fathers match, I honestly expected more going into this one.
And we don't know when these matches were taped.
That is true.
In all fairness. But even if the Founding Fathers one was first, Chance brought it. And Del Rio was probably the real star of the match, because he hasn't competed in a year, and he came in swinging.
Still killed it.
And he was still on fire, but Chance edged it out. And now he's going to face, I believe it's Shannon Miller.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Well, we have the bracket here, so let me pull that up.
That would be Mr. Nanny, actually, where the dog gets thrown into the water.
Oh, Mr. Nanny.
Yeah, he plays Liz Shannon.
See, I would have
Miller
missed that question.
Yo, so, and I mean, Nick, I don't know if you've seen Liz Shannon Miller versus Rachel Silvestrini,
Oh, she got spanked. You guys were not kidding. Like, she's streaky. I'm sorry. Like, holy crap.
I did see that match, yeah.
We'll get to that in a minute. But Taylor, to answer your question, the two questions he missed was the first one: what kind of troll was the troll in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer that Harry and Ron faced in Harry Potter's and the Sorcerer's Stone? Answer is a mountain troll. It's easy, of course.
I don't know. I think actually I would have struggled with that.
That would be a multiple choice answer for me.
I can't. Yeah, I would have gone multiple choice at the least.
I think he did too, but it still didn't help.
He did. But I think he got that one right. So, and the other one, and this one's a little bit more understandable. In The Mask, the Jim Carrey film, what is the first balloon animal Stanley Ipkiss makes for the group of thugs?
Oh my god,
that was one hell of a question.
Is it a dog?
It's a giraffe.
No.
Dog was second. Sorry, it was rabbit, so we have to put it down.
Questions
And then
like that
he said,
so mad.
Chance said after that question was asked, he's like, "Who likes The Mask?" And I'm over here like, "I do."
Me?
Excuse me. Wait, what?
Yeah, that's literally.
I like The
I was
Mask.
like,
The Mask
I'm
is
like,
great.
that's me. I love that movie. It's
That
on
was- that was
Hulu
the
right.
most-
It's on Hulu right now, actually. And I
Is
rewatched it. Yeah, I rewatched it a week or so ago studying. And
That was probably like the most heelish thing he said all match. She's like, "Oh, who likes The Mask?" I'm like, "Damn, like I do. Like Mask rocks." but no, like, and the fact that like I guess it's been contended that if The Mask was even an Inner Geekdom question, which by the way it is,
based on a comic book.
hell yeah, brother. But
I want that movie. Sorry.
the match that they put on was it's the best one I've seen so far of the bunch. Both people brought it, at least in the Inner Geekdom tournament, in the singles tournament. Both people brought it, went to sudden death, and they won on the Hulk Hogan question. What the hell else can I ask for? That match ruled. It absolutely ruled.
Guess I have to go back and check that one out. I missed it. It wasn't on my itinerary. I missed it.
Taylor's like,
Taylor's
like, I'm looking at this list and I feel like I got homework all day tomorrow.
I know. I'm gonna need you to come up with like the greatest hits compilation playlist, perhaps.
Plus, Taylor, that will be your introduction into corruption as a faction.
Yeah.
With the manager Shannon Barney and Chance, who's one half of the tag champs right now, and he's one of the best players the Schmoedown has overall, not even just in one division.
Came from a fan league.
And he came from a fan league. Apparently, he was a killer. Apparently, he was a killer in the fan leagues. So, like, what in all categories.
Paul Oyama was the first player to ever have like a 7-0 start, something like that.
I think he went. I was going to say 6.
6-0 or 7-0.
Don't quote me though. He went undefeated and won the belt.
He took the belt from Dan Murrell. That's no small task. So, like, he and Chance are they're living proof that fans can really compete in this league. Just want to say that. But yeah, I want to talk about that Silver Strini Liz Shannon Miller match because boy,
I
feel vindicated, motherfucker.
Nick, you said it was a stomp. I don't want to say it was a stomp.
It was a stomp.
No, it wasn't.
It was
a stomp. No, Lon Harris over Sabina Graves was a stomp.
No, that was a massacre. This was a stomp.
Because I
use a Schmoedown scale over here as to how things go.
Massacre.
Like, that one was close. That was a stomp. A massacre.
Lon Sabina was on the same scale as Bateman Guy from this past Friday.
Oh yeah. Or who was it? Was it Bateman Oyama from Spectacular when Oyama dropped the belt? Those are the matches that are hard to watch because one person can do better. They're just not doing that at the moment. Mm-hmm. But I thought, okay, so on the show a couple weeks ago, I mentioned like Liz Shannon Miller has like Matt had told me he's like she's like Roka, and I said shut your mouth, like that is blasphemous. How dare you? And then I watched this match. It's the first time I've seen Shannon Miller in a while, and I think it's the first match of hers I actually watched, paid attention to, and understood the hype. So I watched it. I'm like, okay, yeah, she's good, but she got SNL movie questions in her second round. They were like, if I threw you this bag, right? If I threw this bag at you and I asked you to just touch it, that's how easy those questions are.
But at the same time, you expect that when they even said this is the first time that category has been landed on.
Which one did Rachel pull? What category? Or she got opponents. She got opponents, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Let me check.
She got a category she wasn't comfortable with. And those questions, I'm like, dang, like those are some toughies, you know? Like those are some good questions. And then I got the SNL questions. I'm like, what in the hell is happening right now? But
that's the risk you run when you have this brand new category. Normally those first few questions are going to be easier compared to it.
But my gripe is that especially to go back to the Founding Fathers Corruption Tag Title match, when the Founding Fathers pulled Angela Bassett, it was like, ooh, Angela Bassett. Like, ooh, we haven't seen this before. This could be good. And the first question was, Angela Bassett plays the mother of what superhero? I'm like, are you nuts? This is a title match. And that's the first question for Angela Bassett? Like, I was terrified.
Superman, right?
Yeah, like Batman. Okay, she was Martha. Like, no, but I was tripping when I heard those SNL questions. There was the one that she went to multiple choice on is the same one for me. At least I was going in my thought process. But I'm like, yo, like I want to see Liz Shannon Miller against Chance Ellison. Now we're gonna see it. But I want to see her. If she beats Chance, then we can chat about your point from a couple weeks ago. Then we can talk.
If she beats Chance, I want to have Winston back on that day just so he can laugh at you with me.
And if I've eaten so much flack on this show because I'm the worst at predictions, the absolute worst.
Start picking the opposite.
That's what I did for. Remember, that's what I did for Erwin and Merle, just to guarantee Merle won.
I go with my gut. And I mean, I want to be right. Like who doesn't want to be right? But I've been taking goose eggs, taking L's like crazy this past month. The whole month of August was one big L on my forehead. And watching this Liz Shannon Miller match, trust me, I had Liz Shannon beating Silvestrini because I still thought from the jump Ben Goddard should have been in Rachel's spot. But want to make it fair, want everyone to have a chance, and now we see. Now we saw what happened. Liz Shannon Miller's none to play with.
And I gotta bring this up. So in the intro video cut up with all the Winston's even like, oh hi, you're the person who can't do anything unless they land on Kevin Smith or Disney. So I did pull it up. She didn't land on opponent's choice. She just respun and landed on 2010s.
2010s. And I like 2010s as a category. We should probably put that in really trivia. But we'll talk about that later. Yeah. So I think that the second round is what sunk Rachel. She didn't get stomped. I don't think she did.
She ended up in a broad category, and that's the thing. If you end up in a broad, you might get screwed over on questions. Before she had spun Nora Ephron. That is a much smaller category, respectively.
Touche. But man, one of the SNL questions was, what movie are the two characters bopping their heads to Bohemian Rhapsody? I'm like, are you nuts? Like, oh my god.
Hey, so somebody stupid enough could say Wayne's World 2.
Somebody stupid enough could say that movie where What Is Love is playing. Actually,
Night at the Roxbury.
Yeah, Night at the Roxbury. Okay, jeez. Bye.
What is love, baby? Don't hurt me.
No, but one was Who Plays MacGruber. I'm sorry, to the general population who doesn't follow SNL, the only people who follow SNL and watch SNL movies are going to know who his name is. So to a general population, because there are people who are like, yeah, I probably would have missed that, honestly.
Yeah.
That is a respectable question of who played MacGruber. I guarantee you my brother couldn't tell me. He could tell me the Bohemian Rhapsody question, though.
Oh, I bet I can go ask my roommate right now about all the SNL questions. He probably will not get a single one.
And that's the point.
But that's not what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that the difficulty of the freaking questions is like, well, actually, yeah, it is what I'm saying. The difficulty of the question is still pretty like basic level. Like, I don't think we've gotten a question to the point where, like, in Inner Geekdom, who plays Batman in Batman 1989?
Right.
And if we have, that was really early Inner Geekdom. I'm talking like when Hector Navarro was champion.
We had a few of those in the tournament this year. Don't even lie.
But that's a question. But where you can get a freaking 20 in a game. This one's 4 questions in the second round that make or break a game. The second round is the most important round in all of Schmoedown, championships or not. I will stand by that, and I guarantee everyone at the Schmoedown will agree. And to me, these SNL questions, granted, I'm not saying freaking Liz would have gotten a different category and sunk, I would just like to see Liz take on dramas or take on 2010s. I mean, and she stole some from Rachel, so she obviously proved she knew those too. So maybe it's just me thinking I wanted to see Liz Shannon at her best. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but
I want to see her at her peak. Where, like the hype that you freaking brought to her, all the hype are like, oh, she's like Roka. She can be like Roka. It's like, oh, can she? I didn't see that.
But watch the David Del Rio match and you can see it.
I want to see her match with Chance, and then I'll eat shit, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. Like I will eat this bag that I just showed Nick, like because it'll be like I want to see that hype. I want to see that potential that Winston saw in her, because I just don't see it. Granted, I'm blind. I don't have my glasses on, so who knows?
Well, I would argue though, like just because like SNL seems like it's a huge strength for you, Chris. It might not be for everybody else. So I mean, you throw some of those like snowball questions out there.
I've seen. I'll be the first to say I'm not the best in SNL movies. I've seen MacGruber once. I've seen Blues Brothers once. I've never seen more than 5 minutes of Night at the Roxbury because it's shit.
Wow, have some respect.
And I've seen Wayne's World and Wayne's World 2. Apparently, there's 13 movies that involve that category. I couldn't even begin to tell you what the other 8 would be.
No, so it's playing to a strength though. That's the thing. Like if you have a strength, then you have a strength.
Oh, of course. But this is coming from a guy that I haven't seen MacGruber. Yeah, I mean, like what the I don't.
Hunter swears by it though.
But I haven't seen a bunch of. I guarantee I have not seen a bunch of movies in the category. But at the same time, maybe it is my. I do love Saturday Night Live. Maybe that's my thing, and I just know this off the top of my head.
Okay, so, I forgot. Coneheads is one. I've seen Coneheads.
And Coneheads. So I would like to see. I wanted Liz Shannon Miller, to, like bring the heat that people have been talking about, and I just didn't see that with her SNL questions poll in the second round. Granted, she could get classics in the next one against Chance and whoop its ass, and then I'll be over here like, all right, where's my crow so I can eat it? So we'll get to that when the second round happens and she plays Chance, but that's gonna be the real coming out party for her. To me, in my eyes, with my glasses on, I'm watching that show with my glasses on, and I'm gonna think to myself, this is her coming out party against Chance. I am eagerly awaiting it. It will probably be one of the better matches that we've seen, and another test for Chance. Like, yeah, Chance has no easy way to get to the finals, but there are some people having him Final 4, Final 2, even winning the damn thing. And it's not going to be easy for him, regardless. David Del Rio being one, Liz Shannon Miller being the next one.
Hey, give me a little bit more respect, too, because I straight up said, I'm like, for the time being, I told you when we first did the whole tournament breakdown, I said, don't be surprised if Liz Shannon Miller gives Chance problems, because those were the two people I picked to move past. So
I will reserve my judgments until I watch the match. You already know how I feel about Chance, and I gave you some love. You said it. Winston said it when he came on. Like, Liz Shannon Miller's something to play with. I just haven't seen that hype yet, and when I do, I will.
The Del Rio match,
and I did. Yeah, I have. But what I'm saying is that I want to see her, because I want to see her play Chance. Chance is, as of right now, he's the player of the year in my eyes. If the season ended today, Chance player of the year.
You can't take that away from him. I will give you that.
So I want to see her. If she beats Chance, I'll eat all this flack in my room, wherever the hell it's at. But until then,
bag. You have to eat the bag.
I have to eat the bag.
Season it well.
The bag with all the flack, and then all right, cool. But I have yet to see the hype in this new Schmoedown where you have to know your stuff. You can't come in here basic entry knowledge anymore. You can't. You can't just come in here like what we do at Really Trivia. Like yeah, we come in here. Oh, it's fun and we have a good time. We can't do that in the Schmoedown.
Y'all do. Not me. Don't put me in that category.
Don't freaking bury me, Matt. Don't try to bury me on this program. So like,
I'll bury you in 2 weeks. Don't worry about it.
I mean, I'll cut you up right here, Matt. So what I'm saying is you can't come in here with entry level knowledge anymore. The Schmoedown is a whole different game, and there's been some entry level questions that slip through the cracks, especially as the tournament goes on. the second round, primarily, especially after all the upsets we've seen in the first round, I just want to see the competitors bring it, and I want to see Liz bring it against someone who like Chance Matt. I can't see that. That's for me. So, okay, good. Because I really can't remember. I don't know. Oh, Winston Andrew. Yes. Except Shannon is right there. But no, I want to see Shannon Miller bring it. But I mentioned the upsets. Let's get to the upset that happened last Wednesday. We didn't cover on the show. And
can I get some vindication? Because I said this move could come back to bite Corruption in the ass.
Yeah. Yes. And for those who don't know, Taylor, if you're out of the loop, Mike Kalinowski was supposed to be in that number one contenders match against Andrew Guy. It was supposed to be Mike versus Andrew. They gave Mike the option of being either in that or in the singles tournament. He opted to do the singles tournament to help his faction.
Yeah, he wanted to get his faction points. Mike is also arguably he is top 10 player of all time. You could arguably say top 5 because of what he does in teams and in a geekdom.
Yes.
Mike,
so then this man chose to be in singles, and
he was heavily favored.
Heavily favored. Because Perry Nemiroff has not competed in 3 years in the Schmoedown.
Wow.
And then Wednesday happened.
Yeah.
Fresh off of his tag team title match, he loses to Perry Nemiroff first round.
Obviously I'm still figuring all these guys out, but Kalinowski is the name I've heard you guys talk about. I hear it come up with reference on the actual Schmoedown show. I can tell that this is a heavy contender that I'm supposed to take seriously. So I kind of instinctively got from listening to that felt kind of like an upset. So I wasn't wrong on that.
No, like you were not wrong at all. What Mike was doing was he was trying to help Shannon and the rest of the faction out. Like, we need points. I'm going to do the singles tournament and gain as many points as I can by winning in the tournament. So, especially after what Mike just did in the tag match with Chance, you thought that okay, Mike's going to come in here, he's going to kick its ass. But then Perry came out of nowhere, pulls monster movies in the second round, a category she wasn't confident in, respun, got it again, and kicked its ass.
Yeah, she nailed it.
She kicked that category's ass, a category she wasn't too confident in. And I mean, like Mike sunk. Mike sunk. Granted, Corruption, they don't got to worry because they still got Adam Collins facing Roka, Marisol McKee facing Oyama, and we have Chance advancing in the tournament so far. But that makes us question Mike's decision.
Yeah. And I know we talked about this and we said we wanted to bring it up on the show. So if you look at this tournament right now, like you pull up this bracket, this has basically become a 3-man race because Swag has only lost one player so far in this tournament. One.
Who's Perry with?
She's with the Quirky Mercs.
Okay.
It's a 4-man race. The Quirky Mercs, they got Brendan Meyer, Perry, and Whitney. Bibbs. Yeah, sorry, Bibbs. And Tim Franco lost to Tom. So they got 3 people in it.
Oh, wait, that match happened?
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
I missed it.
Go back and rewatch it. It's pretty. It's
boy
Tom's coming out party again.
That was his first singles. Talked about it last week. Then you had you look at the Den. The Den's basically almost out of this thing. They lost Paul Preston. They only have Tom. Yeah, they lost James White, and they lost Silvestrini. So they have Tom left, and that's it. They literally only have Tom.
Right, ain't none to play with either. With Roka, with Ethan being up there.
Yeah, and then you have Finstock. He's still in the first round technically. We got Mark Riley. They lost Roka. Yeah, you got Roka. They lost
Holy
Sabrina.
Crap. I really missed Tom's match. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah. And then the Barbarians match, which happened today, and we won't spoil anything that happened. The Droogs, as of right now, without spoiling anything, only have Whitney Seibold and let me look at this because Duralde lost.
Dater.
Yeah, Whitney Seibold and Jader. That's it. That's all they have because Bonnie lost. And Duralde lost. And Duralde, he didn't play around. He was a great competitor.
Meyer just outplayed him.
Yeah, but Corruption's got Collins and McKee and Chance. Swag's got their 3. The usual suspects already lost, Atchity and Sabina. And then we have and Robert. We haven't even talked about the match yesterday, Robert. So the suspects only have Ethan left in this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what can you do? What are you supposed to do at this point? Like, and then the rock stars, they lost David Del Rio, and they lost Jim Viveda. We got 2 people left as of right now. What can we do there? It's just we're in a position where this tournament has already basically come down to those teams that are at the top half of the points right now. That's realistically it. Those other teams are sinking or just sinking or doing the doggy paddle trying to stay afloat.
And that was, I guarantee that was Mike's intention going into this tournament because it had big ramifications. And us as viewers, we had no idea what Marisol McKee was going to bring or what Adam Collins was going to bring. 2 rookies who just came out of nowhere but kicked ass respectively. And we thought, okay, like Corruption's going to rule this tournament. And Mike, he sank. But I mean, I'm still not worried for Corruption in the slightest. It's still going to come down to the exchange, Swag, and Corruption, and then Ethan. I can't count out the suspects because Ethan's still in this tournament.
You're not worried for Corruption when they have Adam Collins facing the Hungry Roca.
He could still beat Roca.
I don't agree there. They have.
I'm not saying he will. I'm just saying he can.
I don't think he can. They have Chance going against Liz Shannon Miller, who you're starting to give a little bit more respect to.
I am.
And they have McKee going against Oyama. They can honestly be out of this tournament completely in the next round. There's a chance at it, a real chance.
Of course. Of course. There's a chance for all these factions can be out of the tournament within the next round. I'm just saying that they're still these people are still in it. Marisol, none to play with. She brought it in the match against Somerville. Same thing for Adam Collins. Adam Collins, I think Adam Collins is, if anyone out of all these rookies has the biggest chance of beating Roca, it's Collins. I'm with the Adam Collins hype. So this whole tournament is panning out differently. Brackets are busting all over the place. I guarantee if we would have done brackets, like if I would have wrote it down and everything, mine would have been busted by now. Especially with Mike losing. I had Mike beating the winner of Video Drew and Riley.
Yeah, we both did.
So it's like, oh god, like that's gonna be rough. So Mike losing to Perry was already a shock. Like, and then the Liz Shannon Miller stomp of Silvestrini, Chance and Del Rio putting on a show last Thursday. But then yesterday, since we've been talking about it all show briefly, Robert Montano from Late to the Party, another fan, another reactor that reacted to the Schmoedown that came into the league, now making his singles debut against, talk about someone that was hungry, Jeff the Insnider Snyder,
man,
and it was yeah, it was rough. Talk about rough.
Chris, did you watch Backstage with Snyder? Because I do want to get into that.
I did not watch Backstage with Snyder. I only watched the bit with Perry in it. I didn't watch the bit with Snyder. So okay. Let's talk about the match and we can talk about what happened next week.
I was about to say we'll go after.
Wait, before that thought, just to the last match, how do you think Kalinowski feels watching Andrew Guy just basically blunder on there? Like, he probably is thinking, "Oh my god, whoops."
If I'm Mike Kalinowski, I'm of course I'm upset because, geez, but who knows?
Have the eyes that would have been on that match too,
and not to. I don't want to make this a whole conversation about what Mike said on Twitter, but apparently Mike said that like superstars don't do undercards on pay-per-views, which is a controversial statement, at least coming from him. So I don't agree with that.
Undercards on pay-per-views.
I don't agree with that notion, and apparently the Action guys didn't either. So I guarantee Mike's in the minority when it comes to that. I would have loved to be on the undercard for Jericho and Smith. I mean, because like you said, it's eyes on you. Like if the encourager and the personality went at it on the undercard for Smith and Jericho, it's like, oh yeah, totally. Yep. Yeah, cool. I could shit the bed. I'd still be like, I was on a card with Jericho and Smith.
Right.
What the hell?
I'd be willing to book my client on that show, no doubt.
See, I'm saying, so this freaking Mike getting out of singles or getting into singles by backing out of number one contender, I understand. But at the same time, after watching Mike's performance, imagine that against Dan. Like that would have been talk about a mess. I would have not liked this. I wouldn't want to see that performance. I want people to bring their best against the best, and even on Guy's part, if that was Guy against Dan Murrell, it would have been the same result. So I don't blame Mike for backing out.
We almost could have too.
It was it's a toughie, but I understand why Mike would do the whole tournament thing, but at the same time, it's Jericho and Smith undercard. Do the thing.
I mean, that's going to be the most viewed thing of all time for them, probably.
I don't know because they do have a few. If you go back on the Collider stuff, they do have a few because some of their old matches are on the Collider page because they used to partner with Collider and put them up there. They
and Collider's audience is already huge.
Yeah, so they were having like some episodes that were like 500,000 or higher. So
they had the Power Rangers from the new cast on. They did a celebrity match.
Back when that was a thing, they did a celebrity match with that.
That was awesome.
They had a Glow celebrity match. Like they got a nice history going on.
But the way in which Kevin Smith and Chris Jericho are celebrities, when you're making like purely internet-based content, this sort of nerdy internet content, like those are two big gets in a way where, universally, like we're talking Hollywood or whatever, maybe there's bigger names than Smith and Jericho, of course. But within this realm, within the podcasting realm, the streaming realm, like wrestling and, whatever Kevin Smith even, he's a director, but he's this internet personality. I mean, those are two big relevant personalities and names in a different way. So yeah, sure. If you got, I don't know, you got Clooney to come in and do Schmoedown, that's a pretty big name too.
Oh God.
But the way in which those guys are what they are, I think pertains so much more to what a Schmoedown audience would be interested in. So I wonder in terms of live audience, if that was maybe their peak.
They did say that was the highest viewed live match of all time.
There you go. So undercard or not, you're opening for a real superstar fight. So you can't be mad about that. I mean, you aren't going to face Jericho or Smith because you're not Jericho or Smith. But if you can get on that card, I mean, that's a great place to be, in my opinion.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Taylor.
They do already have over 46,000 views. And the highest viewed match from this season looks to be the Atlanta match. And that's at 56,000. So that's only at like 10,000 less than the Atlanta match after.
And it's been a few days. Yeah.
There you go.
And I'm glad you mentioned the stuff about Jericho and Smith. Like, yeah. And if you really think about it, Jericho and Smith really represent the two things that make the Schmoedown what it is. Yeah. The entertainment, sports entertainment side and the movie side.
I was thinking that earlier.
It's the perfect thing to have people come in and put more eyes on the product and just to be a part of that card. I would have loved my name on that card next to Jericho and Smith, whether I met them or not. I was because this could have been in front of an audience and it would have been nuts. I would have loved to hear Fozzie's Judas at a theater somewhere as Jericho walked in, but I mean, it is what it is. But you have to question Mike's choice now, and people were questioning it when he first made it. You're like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, Matt was one of those people. Like, what the hell are you doing? And for me, I was like, oh no, I understand his POV, and I still do, even though he lost. But he had the faction.
I understood his point of view, but I just know it's a tournament and anything can happen.
And we saw what happened, and
like we even said. We're like, Perry has the knowledge. She just never has really been able to put it to use. It seems like in these 3 years, and she's like, I working with Coy and all this because I'm backstage. It seems like everything just finally clicked for her.
Yeah, it makes sense now. And Perry had an impressive performance. Can you pull up the thing one more time? I would love to see who she's going to play next. Oh, it's Video Drew or Riley.
Yep,
yeah,
Video Drew or Riley.
And that match is tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So that match is going to rock.
It's tomorrow or Friday.
Either way, it's this week, and it's going to rock. And winner plays Perry. But speaking of people that rock, Jeff Snyder is someone I missed on the Schmoedown dearly. And I love Jeff Snyder's character. Talking about another guy that brings it in regards to character. Jeff Snyder, whether he was on the Patriots or now at the Odd Couple and the Rock Stars, we haven't seen him in forever since they lost to Who's the Boss earlier this year. And Jeff Snyder, Taylor, since this is your first introduction to Jeff Snyder as a personality, give me your 2 cents on the match against Robert Montano, who was a Schmoedown reactor turned competitor, and this is a singles debut.
So I was wondering if I had interpreted that correctly. So he went from being a fan to being right there on the show.
He was the first fan person.
Him and his significant other were a tag team, and they they faced Team Action. They beat Critically Acclaimed, which is William Bibiani and Whitney Seibold, one of the better teams, at least at the time. Like they were active and they were participating. They were good, especially Robert was good.
So I've seen this. I'm not familiar with him, but I've seen this Snyder guy on Twitter before. I've seen him like cracking scoops or getting retweeted and stuff. So like I saw that name, I was like, I know this. I thought he was. I liked him. I thought he was entertaining. Again, as soon as he showed up, I'm like, guy's a villain. I get it. He's communicating that to me. You know what kind of competitors I'm interested in. He's got the robe open, chest hair going. You know I'm down with that.
Just up his gold member, right? Like that's what it looked like.
Yeah, his gold member cosplay.
And he wasn't over the top. He wasn't playing it. He wasn't hamming it up. He was just a chill, cool, calm, collected heel. And that's all he had to be because now remind me again, what was the other competitor's name?
Montano. Robert. You can just Robert.
Robert. So when I realized the dynamic of we got a fan in here, I was like, oh man, this guy's gonna mix it up. He must have earned his way in, and he was just bumming me out, man. He was bumming me out. I was like, this dude, it just wasn't clicking for him. The Woody Harrelson and Venom thing, I was
screaming. I was screaming at my TV
while I was watching. Like the moment I saw he missed that, I knew it was over.
Yeah, and I felt like he just kept coming back to that moment of knowing what it was, but not being able to pull it, which happens. Look, I mean, it's Kevin Smith on The Hunt. He could tell you what the movie was about. He could tell you who was in it, but he just couldn't get the name of it. It just wasn't there. But yeah, he had that moment too many times. And for somebody who's new to this and who hasn't seen him before, and they're like, we got this fan, we brought him on, he's coming in. I was like, I don't know if you should have him back because that was not a good.
No. This should go. One of his team matches should go to your greatest hits list because that is considered one of the biggest upsets of all time.
All I'll say, man,
I remember that
is Matt. I know you got high aspirations and maybe making it there yourself one day. I hope you do better than this gentleman.
It was halfway. Okay, I have a long history with Late to the Party, and Matt, I'm pretty sure I told you about my disdain for Late to the Party. It wasn't because I didn't like them as people. I don't know them. I'm like, what? It's the characters that they brought to the Schmoedown because they were essentially themselves, whatever. Oh, we're fans. And I vividly remember them playing Team Action. And Team Action's entrance was one of my favorites I've ever seen. It was so minimalistic and perfect. Team Action came out to their music. They came out to, I believe it's the Forgot About Dre instrumental. I think it's what it is. And they came out and they set up 2 chairs and they had the laptop open. They're like, we're reacting, mocking them in the intro. I'm like, oh my God, this is insane and the best thing I've ever seen in my life. And I was right there with them because I was a Team Action stan. I still am. And I'm like, Late to the Party, these nerds. But in reality, I was just hating on them because they were fans, and I wanted to, of course, want to be part of the Schmoedown. Yeah,
I mean, what are we doing right now if not reacting to?
Yeah, like we're like now, like holy hell, like 3 years ago when this match happened, I was sitting in my dorm watching that match, but now I'm over here just like them. And I was over there like, I'm such a hater, and I still am. I'm a hater. I'm an admitted hater.
You're like, oh man, Andrew Guy called them a nerd, huh? And then you're like, Andrew Guy called me a nerd. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like Andrew Guy, me a nerd. Facts. He said it. It's fact. But Robert.
Yeah, they came out Revenge of the Nerds. That's what it was.
Oh, what's it call it? Freaking.
Late to the Party came out as Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, it was that match is great, and I think it came down to the last question if I'm not mistaken. So they were good. Like Late to the Party was good, and Robert was the standout. Robert was the second person ever to have a perfect first round and get the bonus question in teams. if that proves anything to how good he can be, this match against Snyder yesterday wasn't a testament to how good he was. I understand it was just him. It was probably the rust being against a guy like Snyder in your first match back after a long while. Because I guarantee any of us, if we were to go up against one of the best, whoever it is in the Schmoedown, I guarantee we'd be shaking in our boots. And that's exactly what happened to Robert. The Woody Harrelson pull, he knew that. Yeah. Like, he knew Harrelson's name. He just couldn't get it. Same thing for Guillermo del Toro and with the mimic question. Yeah. I'm over there screaming at my phone watching it. It's Del Toro! And he didn't pull it. I'm like, okay, like, dang. Like, it was probably the pressure and having to nail these questions to stay in the game. Granted, he got the Pink Panther question, but still, all it took was for Snyder to get that Hurt Locker question. And
easy question.
It was another softball. It was a layup. It was a layup. So this Montano match wasn't a testament to how good he is. He's better than what he portrayed yesterday, for sure. But it was the tournament, and the usual suspects need the points, and they didn't get them yesterday. Roxy beat Sam again for the second time in a week because Andreyko beat Atchity last week.
Yep.
So that's already a toughie. That has to put the pressure on Sam, put the pressure on Robert, and no one wants to be in that position where it's first match back facing Snyder. Oh God, you need to win this match. Oh hungry God.
Hungry Snyder. Snyder's always unrealistic about where he stands in regards to the Schmoedown. I gotta say that because Snyder thinks he should be in the conversation of best of all time, when Snyder hasn't done squat outside of Team Patriots, basically. Besides winning his championship with Andreyko, other than that, you got to a championship and then got smacked by Paul Oyama. You have a history of giving up when you're down by a decent amount. You don't deserve to be in the GOAT conversation.
I think the Patriots
themselves they deserve to be in it.
The team, yes, but
because are they still the longest reigning tag team champions?
Yes, they are. But
they won 9 straight, correct?
Yes, they went 9-2 as a team. But Snyder said he himself, as a single player alone, should be on Mount Rushmore and in the GOAT conversation. That is where I cannot agree.
He's never been champion. I mean,
exactly.
Like, you got to be champion to be considered the GOAT. I mean, there are people, there's personalities that I would put above champions. You know, I think that kind of factors into it. But his personality, though, we get it. It's just not,
He went from being a normal asshole to the Patriots to a semi-crazy asshole right now with the Rock Stars.
I can agree with
the sentiment.
The single sentiment with Jeff Snyder, I can agree with. Now, if he were to run through this tournament, beat whoever the champion is at Spectacular, oh God, okay, do that thing.
Yeah.
Well,
but that's not the case.
He has actively said if you asked him any Inner Geekdom question, he's not going to know it.
He's shat on Inner Geekdom multiple times.
So if I'm a competitor, I'm throwing every geek category I can on that motherfucking wheel to knock him out.
Yeah.
And especially next season where we can pick apart the Inner Geekdom and put it on the singles and teams division wheels, that's going to be a fun time.
Exactly. So that's my point. You oh yeah, I should be in the GOAT conversation. You show no respect to the actual movies because they aren't art house. I'm sorry.
It's the Scorsese approach. It's the thrill rides and the roller coaster. But I disagree with him on multiple points, but I still think he's one of the most entertaining people the Schmoedown has ever seen.
I'll give him top 10, maybe top 15. Honestly, I want to give him
top 15 at the lowest.
Top 15 would be where I would be. Yeah,
but I would not put him anywhere near the top 5. That's what,
even yesterday. Even over the StreamYard, like how we're doing it right now. Like, he was still pretty damn funny. And at the end, he was like, hey, Vanessa, Robert's significant other. He's like, Vanessa, call me. What a great way to end it from Snyder, who just came back from freaking out of nowhere. So that match yesterday, it was frustrating watching Robert, struggle a little bit because he can do better than that. But Snyder was talking. He said he was hungry in his promo, and he backed it up. 100%.
To put it back to wrestling, I felt like I had just seen this monster heel go out and squash the hometown hero. Like I thought I just saw Braun Strowman pick up some geek and throw him into the crowd and eat him for breakfast. That's how I felt. I was like, this is momentum. And
he likes big sweaty men. Sorry, I just had to.
Yeah, I do. I my thing now is like, okay, this Snyder dude's entertaining. He knows his stuff. Again, I said with Guy, this is another one where like I don't know if I'm gonna watch every Schmoedown match because I just don't know if I'll be able to keep up with it like that. But I'm finding these guys where I'm like, that's somebody I'm gonna pay attention to. Next time I see Snyder in the video title or the stream title, I'm gonna click. I'm gonna check it out.
See, and I would have been the first person to tell you, like, yeah, Jeff Snyder's fantastic. The match that Matt and I went to last year.
We got to see Snyder live.
We saw the Odd Couple face Who's the Boss live, and it was exactly how we thought it would go. It was a fantastic teams match. And Snyder was being the little jerk that he was at the time, and it was great.
There was one point where he took off his normal shirt and had a kid-size Chicago Bears Kevin White jersey that he should not have been wearing.
It stopped it was like a crop top.
Yeah,
it was halfway uncomfortable. It was funny as hell to see.
A Kevin White jersey. Sorry.
Yeah, my guess is he went to the local Goodwill and found the closest.
It was a bargain bin Bears jersey.
That might be.
But Snyder was also the guy who, when they won, he took his water bottle and on his knees and just poured it on his head and celebrated. Like, that's the heel tendencies I like out of him. That's the weirdness. That's the kookiness to do like the rock stars have brought out of him. I think character-wise, yes, he's one of the better characters. Can't take that away from him. But his character is still basically just, it seems like he's who he is as a person, because it seems like whenever you see Jeff Snyder talk about anything, it's talking no matter what.
Yeah, I can rock with that. I can rock with that, pun intended. The thing with thank you. The thing with Jeff though, especially yesterday, we saw there were some holes in his movie knowledge. Like Eddie Murphy, he got it in the second round, wasn't too great with the questions. And granted, when he gave Robert Thriller after spinning Opponent's Choice, one of the more popular wheel slices in the past month.
Tournament. Yep.
My God, Opponent's Choice is the killer that will sink anybody. Freaking, especially that Who's the Boss and Shazam match. That was upsetting. But having him spin or giving him Thriller, answer the couple, but Snyder took the other ones, and he was quick to take the other ones too. Mm-hmm. So pulling Eddie Murphy was just like salt on the wound.
I was honestly shocked that I knew a decent amount of those Thriller questions.
So did I.
I was gonna say that and the Eddie Murphy ones. I was like, oh, all right.
I heard the Stephen Root question. I'm like, I literally studied this. Hell yeah.
Or the what's it call it? It was the Trading Places one. I'm like, it's Dan Aykroyd.
Yep. Yeah.
I was again screaming at my phone when one of them doesn't get it, and then he eventually got it. But I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But no, the match it went exactly how I thought it was going to go. But I thought Robert was going to do a little bit better. So like he was damn close to a TKO. Jeff Snyder was, but that Kevin Kline pull was good for Pink Panther.
Yeah. I feel bad for Robert of the El Dorado question. He literally, it's like
yeah. We're losing you, man. We're doing so good for a long time.
Oh dear.
You back?
No,
a little bit. Leave the thing and then come back. Okay, so yeah, the El Dorado question was because it's like, oh, Road to El Dorado with Kenneth Branagh using his voice for like the DreamWorks movie, but then he wrote like El Dorado, and I guarantee we all had the same reaction. We're like, ah, damn, like those two words makes it like it's the title of the movie, and I'm glad that he wasn't like, ah, dang, I was damn close.
Yeah. Which, by the way, that film does have a fantastic Elton John song. Just want to put that out there.
Road to El Dorado is pretty fun.
And a very creepy Elton John music video where he's a cartoon. It's weird.
Yeah.
Haven't seen it. I have no interest in seeing it. But I mean, and it's funny that El Dorado was even mentioned yesterday because my first thought was like, oh, Prince of Egypt, because those movies came out so close to each other, and they're both DreamWorks, right? So I was like, losing you again, Matt. Unless I'm the only one tripping over here.
No, it's going over here.
But yeah, those two movies.
He's stunned.
You're shocked. That was my reaction seeing Robert miss the question. But no, it was the match yesterday. Snyder's coming out party. No Rust scene, and he's still brought the same character. Like I loved Snyder's part of the match. Robert, like I said, he's gonna he'll bounce back. I think that he'll still be involved in the league. Christian really likes him. If the pre-match interview showed anything, and Sam really hyped him up, and I think that's where Taylor, maybe if that's where you got your opinion on him already, because he was really hyped up from the beginning. Like, oh, he beat Bibiani and he was in the freaking free for all. He did good in the free for all, but it wasn't working out for him. But I mean, it's freaking Jeff Snyder. It's no slouch, absolutely no slouch.
Matt, if you can hear me, you were absolutely 100% frozen. There he goes.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we couldn't even hear him. That was upsetting.
Even got my man Solano in the chat saying something's wrong. So.
Yeah. I think he's
Thank
a little
you to our
tired.
Twitch people who keep coming back over and over again.
Love our Twitch people, man. I've been meaning to say, like, and this goes for anybody, not to prioritize one platform over the other, but if you like what we do, if you like this channel, one of the biggest things you can do to support us is to check us out on Twitch. Follow us there. Watch us on Twitch. It's going to be so integral to building this platform. So shout out to all the new friends we're making on Twitch, because that is what really is rewarding. You know, we're reaching new people and that they're coming back. Really appreciate it, and it's really going to help us progress.
What did y'all plug? What did I miss?
No,
We're just
Solano
shouting out
is back.
Twitch.
So we were saying hi.
Well, speaking of Twitch, I guess this is the perfect time for this.
Wait, Solano gave us hearts?
Solano.
Oh, thanks, Zolano. Zolano.
I don't know.
Solano.
Speaking of Twitch, I'm going to plug this right now. We got our Twilight Watch Along.
Oh, sweet Christ. This is my first time seeing this image.
You're welcome.
Wow. Team Taylor over there. Look at that.
Yeah,
Chris, we got beef.
they're doing the entire Twilight Saga in one night. Saturday, November 21st, starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We got some special guests we're trying to start lining up. But yeah, we got that going, so I'm going to just plug that real quick.
A good time to mention. So we've been, and I want to say, you know, it's pretty far out, and we're really developing some things to make that stream special. And to that point, again, it's going to be at this moment in time, it's looking like it. You go, girl. It's looking like a Twitch exclusive. So you're going to want to, if you watch us on YouTube or Facebook and you don't have a Twitch account, it's free. Sign up real fast. Follow us on Twitch, and it really will go a long way in building our platform and what we can make happen on this channel. So I'm really looking forward to the Twilight thing. We've got some awesome surprises, and again, it's going to be. We still need to lock down who we're raising money for, but we are going to do it for charity. So there will be some donation incentives and things like that to really ramp up the hysteria of that evening. I can tell you, it's going to be insane. I can promise that much. So insane that Matt will freeze up in 2:40.
Yeah, all it took was the one
graphic
and Matt froze up again. No, you're good, Matt. Well, we're getting you in bits. But no, the watch along is going to be freaking awesome. Like you saw my face, my ugly mug, Taylor's face, and Connor. We're gonna be like the three, I think, that stay the whole time. Of course, everyone else in who are these going to cycle out.
Toby now probably with you, suffering with you.
I guarantee he won't.
I'll try. I'm old,
he said he
so
might.
I sleep.
I would
don't
love
take Tommy's word for it.
I would love if all of us somehow stayed up from. I was charting out from about 5 p.m. to roughly between from pretty much 5 p.m. to about 5 a.m. I would love if everybody stayed for that. And like Matt said before he entered an alternate dimension, we're also trying to lock down some guests for that show as well.
It's gonna be a fun time. November 21st, 5 p.m. freaking Eastern Standard Time, because all the homies with myself excluded, they're in Cleveland, or in the Cleveland area, so they're going to go ahead and rock Eastern Standard Time. I'll be Central, so 4 p.m. Central. And it's just going to be fun. It's going to be a riot.
You have a good advantage. You will be able to go to sleep just a little bit earlier than we do.
A little bit sooner.
If we get any of these West Coast guests.
Yeah, we've got some really good stuff lined up. It's gonna be a madhouse. Now before we go, because I get the sense, are we winding down here? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay. I would be remiss to say, and I'm not going to give Chris an unfair advantage here, but let's take a moment to appreciate what we've got on the screen here. Chris Anthony Lopez is the number one contender to Matt the Master Thomas's trivia championship, and these guys are going to go at it, and I'm going to be hosting that match with this handsome man up there, Nick Walbot. You know, the four of us are going to be back on this screen. We've been talking about our trivia showdown and what we do, obviously an homage and inspired by the Schmoedown. That's going on over on our YouTube channel. And the next time these guys compete, it's going to be against each other, and it's going to be for all the marbles. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, and especially, with the technical difficulties we're having over in bottom left. I don't want to give.
We had an internet outage over here, so it's
all I'm saying.
What do you guys have to say to each other?
Look, before I lose Matt in its entirety, Matt, if this happens during our match, I'm counting it as a forfeit in my favor. So,
there he is.
So, this match, right? We're doing sprint from the real Civil War. We've done it once before. It didn't go in my favor. Doing it again. Whole different personality. Yeah, I was Chris Anthony Lopez wearing my Back to the Future jacket, just happy to be there, facing my homie and movie trivia. And then I got pissed off. And now this match is gonna be it's the first title defense that we've had in the Really Trivia Showdown. I'm really excited for that. Don't get me wrong. But the personality you're gonna see is almost unlike every version of the character we've seen so far. Yeah. We're gonna get the same guy. He's gonna look the same with his jacked up teeth doing his thing. But I'm pissed, dude. I'm so upset. I'm still reeling from the first, pun intended, still reeling from the first time we played each other. It was not my best showing, and I've had better showings since. Yeah, and I get better every time I play.
That's not true. We saw Toby's.
This isn't something. This isn't something that I'm dwelling on, right? This match means a lot to me. Whether like dropping the facade, this match means a lot to me. I've been thinking about it like crazy since we announced it. This on the 18th. It's gonna be a show, and I'm not playing for myself. I'm playing for the whole damn league because I'm tired of seeing your ass parade around here. Oh, this is the fan league, and it's for me. You guys aren't studying, you nerds. Like this isn't. I'm not playing for me. I'm just trying to just plug this sink and really just shoot you down, Icarus, before your freaking wings melt off in the sun. This needs to stop. This needs to stop. This whole reign of terror needs to stop. Yeah, you're the master. You're the master of ruling this channel by the throat. So we need to cool it. All right, I've seen enough. I've seen enough of all this garbage. I'm pissed. I'm angry, and I didn't want to bring it out during the show because I love talking Schmoedown with you, Matt. We had guests on today. We normally just do the show by our lonesome, and it's perfectly fine. But Taylor had to bring it up, and Pandora's box has just been opened, and I'm pissed. I'm so angry, and I can't wait for our match. I really can't, because you could beat me again. You can knock me out. You say you're trying to knock me out. Thanks, Zalanu. You're trying to knock me out again because you had so much fun doing it the first time, but it's only so good because it makes the channel better because Matt's winning. It makes the channel better. No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
I honestly think if the Encourager was winning, that would make the channel better, and I can't wait for his match against Mike the Wizard win. So
I'm not talking about the Wizard or the Encourager. They're not here. No, I'm talking about us. I'm talking about you.
No. I'm saying what I think would make this better is the Encourager winning. I'm only winning fantastic. Because I actually put in time and effort. If y'all actually did that, it wouldn't be that big of an issue.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be as fun.
So what do you mean when you say you're invoking the Encourage? Are you saying that it's not even good for the channel if Chris wins?
No,
what are you trying to say here?
I'm saying to keep improving the channel, we need a winner. And I think the Encourager or the Wizard is the best chance of that outside of me. That's just me personally. So
if I'm hearing anything, I'm hearing that the Master finally talk about chinks in the armor. My man's finally saying that someone is good because he's been stroking his own ego the whole time. Our whole singles tournament.
He's not saying about you.
We're introducing people into this league. We're introducing ourselves to this league. And after finally just, like, yeah, I'm winning. I'm the master. Beats the Rager and really killed the best personality in this league, coming from the personality himself. I'm willing to admit that. And now he's out here freaking just chilling. You're wrecking things in your path that may not be good. Not all these things of what you're doing are good, and I'm tired of that. I'm going to put a stop to it. September 18th. Put your damn glasses on, because all this energy is too bright for you. It's too much for you. Cover them eyes.
No, it's not too bright.
Look like you got your grandma's sunglasses on. What the hell?
Anything you want to say, Matt, before we wrap this up? Because you've been taken to the task here, in my opinion.
Here's the thing. Winners win. And that's what matters. Who's got a 2-2 record going into this match? Who's got an undefeated record? Who's knocked out every opponent they have had besides your client, because your client is one of the higher skilled players in this entire league?
Can you stop stroking them off? Talk about me.
No argument there. Keep stroking, baby. Whoa! Want to talk about a Wadanati?
I'm putting us on the same level right here.
Should Nick and I just
no
give you this moment?
No, you're good. No. I have no fear of the person to my right, technically, over here. I'm the personality. Let's go. Oh. No. I study. I put the work in. I reap the benefits. It's that point blank. As you brought up earlier, when you were talking about my aspirations is to catch attention somehow and end up in the big leagues, because I love what they're doing up there. So I'm going to keep playing to that level, and I'm going to keep treating this like this is the big leagues. So
that's awesome. I'm so happy for you. And you know what? Let's be like the big leagues now. Actually, Matt, you're the co-founder of Who Are They? Real Entertainment. Let's compare you to the co-founder of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown, Christian Harloff. Christian won the belt. And we know what he did? Gave it up. Now he's sitting behind the desk. So for the better of everyone here at the Really Trivia Showdown and for Who Are They? Real Entertainment, you got to lose the belt and be just like Christian. Sit behind the desk.
You're the one who's going to make that happen.
You're damn right. I'm trying my freaking damnedest.
There it is.
The second his connection works, we can get this party started.
There it is. September 18th on our YouTube channel, baby. Who Are They? Real Entertainment.
But it's
first
all
ever
love.
Title defense.
But it's all love.
But it's all love. No doubt. It's all love.
So Matt's frozen. I never close the show, so I'm gonna go ahead and close it. Thank you so much for watching Who Are They? Spin from the Reel. Really appreciate it. Nick, Taylor, thanks for coming on the program.
It's been my pleasure.
I appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
My first time, and perhaps not my last, because I will definitely be keeping up with the Schmoedown as per your recommendation.
I hope you guys come back. Really, just anytime you want to come back. Yeah. Okay. Matt's back on his phone. So we're good. We're good to go.
We're having an internet outage over here because my brother had to get a gaming rig, so there's that. So the internet's spread a little bit more thin because you can't stay off online games.
No, you're good. You're fine. But look,
Pause. I didn't even get to finish. You said take a seat like Christian Harloff. You remember why Christian Harloff took a seat? Do you remember why he really took a seat? Because Sam Levine put him down. Sam Levine put him down. Do you remember who he won that belt from? Dangerous Dan Murrell. So if I'm to lose, maybe I'll take a back seat. Maybe I'll relax for a while, or maybe I'll come back stronger than ever. But I don't think I'm going to lose. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of the Encourager. I'm not afraid of the Wizard. Because right now, Chris, you're probably on that B tier level. You got lucky.
I'm a B+ player, aren't I?
Yeah. You got lucky with that three-way. Because honestly, I'm going to be honest. I think if Nick had just played Toby and then played you, He might have won, and he might be in your position. You got lucky because you're like, you know what, screw it. Let's make this a triple threat. But it is what it is. Right now, I'm the champion, and that's all that matters. Who has the belt? Not you, not the Encourager, not Nick, not the Seaman Demon, not the Wizard, not the Mr. Man, not the Princess. I could keep going on and on. No one has the belt but me. I put in the work. I earned my belt. End of story.
And we'll see on September 18th. I can go at this all day, but just for the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here for Spin from the Reel. Like I said, Taylor, Nick, thank you so much for joining us. Really do appreciate the time. And please come back. Y'all have open invite. Whenever y'all want to come on Spin from the Reel, say the word. Especially with the pay-per-view on September 11th. We'll chat a bunch, and we talk every day, so I'm pretty sure we'll talk about this. And make sure you go ahead and follow all the socials. Not only follow Matt and I at the socials down there, go ahead and follow all the Who Are They socials. We're all scrolling down here, especially the Twitch. November 21st, we are doing the Twilight Watch-Along. Over 10 and a half hours of Twilight goodness.
There's another watch-along, too, and Taylor can tell you a little bit more about it.
Please do.
We don't have a date pinned down yet, but in October, Connor, my really scared co-host, and I will be doing a live watch-along of Veronica, which is, of course, Glenn Danzig's directorial debut. It's been touted as the Tommy Wiseau equivalent of horror movies. I've not seen it before, but I've heard of its legend, and I'm very excited to watch that along with them. I'll be drinking Spooky Tooth all night, so I will be quite belligerent by the end of it. I've got the whole screen here, and I'm plugging. I'll keep going because tomorrow night is Really Scared. We've got a great show. We're going to be talking to Vile director, and I'm not saying he's a vile man. He's a director of a film called Vile, Scott Brocious. I've heard it said he's a staple of the Cleveland film community and industry. So I'm very excited to have a moment to sit down and chat with him about his feature film. We'll have a couple cast members on as well. So really looking forward to that. Going to be great to get to know him. And if you're interested in the Cleveland film industry community, etc., if you want any insight in how it works, that's going to be a great opportunity for you because obviously we'll pass any questions and comments you have along to the man himself as well as the cast of the film. So looking forward to that. Come back here tomorrow night. As always, Thursday night is Really Scared. Be there or beware.
That's awesome. Well, go follow all the subs, all that fun stuff. That's where we get the information for not only Really Scared, Spin from the Reel. Final buzzer, whenever that happens again, our talk show every Sunday night, Real Talk on this very YouTube channel, Facebook page, wherever you're watching this.
Soon to be Wrestling Real. Wrestling is real.
So Wrestle Real, it's in the works, brother, and we're behind the curtain, waiting to come out, waiting for our entrance. But we're doing that in a second. We'll do that the second we can. But for Taylor, for Nick, for Matt, my name is Chris Anthony Lopez, and don't forget, straight from the reel, not from the pegs.
Not the peg.